It was the darkest night of the year. A blood-red moon hung over Peppa's house as storm clouds gathered ominously overhead. Peppa was fast asleep, unaware that something ancient and evil was stirring in the shadows of her room. At her window, a creature of the night watched and waited, its glowing red eyes pierced through the darkness. Peppa woke with a start. The window was open, and a cold wind filled her room. How did it get open? Peppa felt a strange pain in her neck. When she touched it, she found 2 small puncture marks. "What happened to me?" she whispered. In the bathroom mirror, Peppa noticed something terrifying. Her reflection was becoming fainter and fainter. At breakfast, nothing tasted right anymore. The food that Peppa once loved now seemed disgusting and flavorless. The morning sunlight streaming through the windows burned Peppa's skin. She felt weak and strange, unlike ever before. At school, Peppa found herself avoiding her friends. Something inside her whispered, "Stay away from them. You're dangerous now." When Peppa looked at Susie Sheep, her eyes flashed red for a moment. She felt a terrible hunger she had never experienced before. That night, the transformation began. Peppa's skin started to change color, and she felt sharp fangs growing in her mouth. Peppa stared at her reflection in terror. She had become something she never imagined, a creature of the night. The vampire hunger was overwhelming. Peppa approached her sleeping family, fighting against the dark urges within her. Unable to control herself, Peppa accidentally bit George. Immediately, her little brother began to change as well. George had become like Peppa, a vampire. "We're the same now," Peppa said sadly, realizing what she had done. The vampire curse was spreading. Soon, Mummy Pig and Daddy Pig would join them in their dark transformation. The entire family had become vampires. They were no longer the happy pig family they once were, but creatures of the night. The vampire family visited Grandpa and Grandma Pig, unknowingly spreading their curse to the older generation. The vampire curse had spread throughout their community. All of Peppa's friends had become creatures of the night. As dawn approached, the vampire family stood together. They were forever changed, but they were still family. In darkness, they had found a new kind of unity.
It was a peculiar evening when Peppa discovered something that would change everything. The house seemed different somehow, as if shadows were watching from every corner. Peppa had found the mysterious mirror in Grandpa Pig's old trunk. The ancient glass seemed to shimmer with its own light, calling to her with whispered promises. As Peppa peered into the mirror, she noticed something strange. Her reflection looked back at her, but the room behind her in the mirror was different, darker, more sinister. Suddenly, the mirror began to pulse with an ancient magic. Peppa felt drawn to it, unable to look away as the glass started to ripple like water. In the mirror's depths, Peppa saw another version of herself, one with green, stitched skin and hollow eyes. This other Peppa smiled with too many teeth. The mirror Peppa beckoned with a clawed hand. "Come closer," it seemed to whisper. "Let me show you what you could become." Downstairs, George had already been touched by the mirror's curse. His beloved dinosaur toy now looked as twisted as he did, with sharp teeth and glowing eyes. Mummy and Daddy Pig continued their evening routine, unaware that they too had been changed. The mirror's influence was spreading through the house like a plague. When Peppa's fingers touched the cold glass, she felt a chill run through her entire body. The mirror was not just showing her another world, it was pulling her into it. As Peppa walked through her home, she realized that reality itself had shifted. The photographs showed that her family had always been these twisted creatures. The family gathered for their evening television time, but the programs had changed too. Only darkness and chaos flickered across the screen now. At dinner, the family consumed their meal without question. What had once been wholesome food was now something that defied description, yet it satisfied their new hunger. Even at school, the transformation had taken hold. Susie Sheep waited by the rusted swings, her wool now matted and her eyes glowing with an unnatural light. That night, Peppa lay awake, haunted by memories of who she used to be. The mirror continued to pulse with its cursed energy, feeding on the chaos it had created. Driven by a fragment of her former self, Peppa searched the attic for answers. Among Grandpa Pig's old belongings, she found books that spoke of cursed mirrors and their power. The ancient text revealed the truth. The mirror was a prison for dark spirits, and breaking it would require a sacrifice, the very memories of who she used to be. Standing before the cursed glass, Peppa saw both versions of herself reflected back. She raised the hammer, knowing that destroying the mirror might destroy her too. With a mighty swing, Peppa shattered the mirror. Dark energy exploded outward as the imprisoned spirits were finally released, screaming into the night. As dawn broke, Peppa awoke in her normal form. The nightmare seemed to be over, but the broken mirror shards on her floor proved it had all been terrifyingly real. The family returned to their normal lives, with no memory of their cursed night. But in the shadows, one mirror shard remained, waiting patiently for its next victim. It was a beautiful sunny morning at Peppa's house. Everything seemed perfect and normal, just like any other day. Peppa was playing with her favorite toys in the living room when she heard a strange noise coming from upstairs. The mysterious sound seemed to be coming from the attic. Peppa had never been up there alone before. In the dusty attic, Peppa found something strange, an old mirror covered by a mysterious cloth. When Peppa removed the cloth, she revealed an ancient mirror with strange symbols carved into its frame. As Peppa looked into the mirror, something was wrong. Her reflection looked different, darker somehow. Peppa went to the kitchen to tell Mummy Pig about the mirror, but something was strange about the food she was cooking. Mummy Pig smiled at Peppa, but her eyes seemed empty, as if she was looking right through her. In George's room, even his favorite dinosaur toy looked menacing and wrong. When the family gathered for dinner, Peppa noticed everyone seemed different, like they were all wearing masks. Peppa returned to the attic, hoping the mirror could explain what was happening to her family. The mirror revealed the truth. It was showing her a dark parallel world where everything was corrupted. In the mirror world, her family had become monsters, living in a house of shadows and fear. The kitchen had become a place of nightmares, where Mummy Pig prepared meals that no one should ever eat. As Peppa stared into the mirror, she felt herself changing, becoming part of the dark world she was seeing. The house itself was changing around her, becoming the twisted version from the mirror. Her family, now completely transformed, welcomed her into their new dark reality with hollow smiles. Peppa realized the mirror was the source of the curse and tried desperately to break it. The mirror shattered into 1,000 pieces, but the curse had already taken hold. From the outside, Peppa's house looked normal, but inside, the curse lived on forever.
Scary Peppa Pig episode that never made it on TV. Peppa and George were playing in their bedroom when they noticed something strange. A new music box had appeared on Peppa's dresser, one that neither of them had ever seen before. The music box was painted in bright Peppa Pig colors, but something about it felt wrong. When Peppa wound it up, a haunting lullaby began to play, and a tiny dancer emerged from inside. The dancer looked exactly like Peppa, but smaller and made of porcelain. Her joints moved in ways that seemed unnatural, bending and twisting as she spun to the eerie melody. Her painted smile was too wide, stretching across her face in a way that made George hide behind his teddy bear. The music box. Peppa's glass eyes never blinked, never looked away, always staring directly at the real Peppa. Every night, the music would start playing by itself. The tiny dancer would emerge and perform her endless routine, singing the same haunting song over and over. Dance with me, play with me, never let me go. Round and round, we'll spin around, in circles we will flow. The melody echoed through the house, but strangely, only Peppa and George could hear it. Mummy Pig and Daddy Pig slept soundly, unaware of the nightly performances. As the days passed, the music box Peppa began to grow. Each morning, she was slightly larger than the night before. Her porcelain skin started to crack, revealing something dark underneath. Her painted dress became more vibrant, more real, while her smile grew even wider. She would whisper to Peppa during the day, her voice coming from inside the music box, even when it wasn't playing. The whispers became more insistent. Music box. Peppa told Peppa about the wonderful world inside the music box, where the music never stopped and the dancing never ended. She described a place where little girls could spin forever, where every day was filled with the same beautiful song, where no one ever had to grow up or worry about anything ever again. One night, Music Box Peppa was the same size as the real Peppa. She stepped out of the music box completely, her porcelain feet clicking on the wooden floor. Her movements were jerky and unnatural, like a marionette controlled by invisible strings. She approached Peppa's bed, her glass eyes reflecting the moonlight, her painted smile never wavering. "It's time to switch places," Music Box Peppa said, in a voice that sounded like wind chimes in a storm. "You can come live in my world, where everything is perfect and the music plays forever. I'll take your place here, in this boring world where the music always stops." She extended her porcelain hand toward Peppa, and for a moment, Peppa felt an overwhelming urge to take it. But George started crying, breaking the spell. The sound of his tears seemed to crack something in Music Box Peppa's perfect facade. Her smile flickered, her glass eyes dimmed, and she began to shrink back toward the music box. "Soon," she whispered as she disappeared inside. "Very soon, we'll dance together forever." The next morning, Peppa tried to tell Mummy Pig about the Music Box Peppa, but the music box had vanished. In its place was just an empty spot on the dresser, as if it had never existed at all. But sometimes, late at night, Peppa could still hear the faint sound of that haunting lullaby, and she knew that somewhere, music box, Peppa was still dancing, still waiting, still singing her endless song about dancing forever and never letting go.